and it's the alleged Parliament building arsonist Zandile Mafe, who will now return to court on the 2nd of September. The Western Cape High Court has postponed his pre-trial hearing this morning. Let's find out the reasons for this postponement. Our reporter Nasiphi Same is watching that space for us. Nasiphi, good morning to you. So give us the reasons for yet another postponement to these pre-trial hearings.
Well, it was quite an eventful morning here at the Western Cape High Court. As you do know, that Zandile Mafe, who stands accused of being the man behind the arson at Parliament earlier this year, was supposed to make his first court appearance for the pre-trial conference. However, as you mentioned, that matter was postponed to the 2nd of September for further consultations. And the eventfulness is the fact that Mafe did not appear in court. There was quite a delay when he had to make his appearance. We do understand that the court orderly came up and informed the judge that Mafe was laying down in the holding cell, and he tried to pick him up and he couldn't. And the fact that Mafe was in his pajamas and did not feel comfortable coming up and appearing or making his first court appearance at the Western Cape High Court in his pajamas. We also understand from his defense, that he also had embarked on a hunger strike. And if you remember, this is not the first time that Mafe is embarking on a hunger strike. The first time that he embarked on the hunger strike, was when he was calling for a bail hearing, But I'm joined by Eric Ndabazalila, NPA spokesperson in the Western Cape. Sir, thank you so much for your time. But an update regarding what transpired in court today.
Well, we are also taken by surprise when the accused didn't come up for his first appearance. Like you mentioned, the court orderly came up and informed the court that they were facing a situation downstairs. As the accused was lying on the floor, they couldn't even pick him up, and he said he refused to come up. So the matter was postponed. I mean, it still stood down for a few minutes, and the presiding officer asked Mr. Kodla to go speak to his client. He did speak to his client and came up about 30-45 minutes later, where he informed the court that the accused has been on hunger strike, is sick, is still in his pajamas. We were not aware that the accused has been on hunger strike as the NPA and that he is sick. So we were all taken aback by that. So the matter had to start and continue in his absentia, and it has been postponed to the 2nd of September for another pre-trial. During this period, what will happen is that, in fact, what has happened so far is that 95% of our case we've handed over to them, and then we'll have to hand over further particulars that are still outstanding. That will be your video footage. They need to give us a hard drive so that we can download and give it to them, as well as video analysis, which we will get during the course of this week. I think by this week, end of this week is ending today, maybe next week, we would have handed them everything that they need to consult and be ready for the trial.
Section 78 came up once again. We do understand that Mafe had been taken to Falkenberg Psychiatric Hospital after he was diagnosed with paranoid schizophrenia. However, he was then released and moved to Paulsmoor. But it then came up once again during this pre-trial period. Talk to us about that.
Yes, you'll remember that when it came up at the lower court, Cape Town, the issue that came into dispute was the process, not that there was no question around his mental capacity. You'll remember Dr. Van Donder did a preliminary report, which was tabled in court, and the defense successfully challenged in this court. So our plan was to bring it up again. We even planned to have Dr. Van Donder in court today, but after consultation with the judge, it was felt that it's not necessary for her to be in court today, because the judge felt that, in fact, all the parties, after consultation, felt that that matter of Section 78 will be dealt with by the presiding judge during the trial.
And then obviously the matter has now, been postponed to the 2nd of September for further consultations. What can one expect on the 2nd of September here at the Western Cape High Court?
From our side, we want, number one, from our side, we are ready for trial, number one. Number two, we will hand over to them everything that they need to consult and be ready for trial. We hope by then, when we come back on the 2nd, we will be able to discuss the issue of the trial. And before that, us and the defense will approach the JB, the judge president, to ask for a judge who will deal with this matter to be allocated. So we hope those issues will be sorted out when we come back.
Eric, you spoke about being surprised by Mr. Mafe embarking on a hunger strike once again and NPA not being informed, and the fact that he arrived in court, or rather the holding cells here at the Western Cape High Court, in his pajamas. What are the steps moving forward? I mean, what happens if it happens again on the 2nd of September? Are there going to be any consultations with the Correctional Service Department?
Well, some of the questions that you and many other people around the country may have interest in will have to be answered by the Department of Correctional Services. But we hope that when we come back, there won't be any delays in this matter. It's good for him as an accused person, it's good for us, and I think it's good for the general public as the case has attracted even international interest. So we hope that anything that comes up will be sorted before the 2nd. Unfortunately, he may even get sick around the 2nd. That one we don't have control over. But we hope that between now and then, he would have fully recovered and he'll be ready for the start of the trial.
In consultation with the Department of Correctional Service in regards to the hunger strike and NPA not being informed and his attire, which he came in pajamas?
Unfortunately, I can't comment on that, but one would assume that we'll have to make some calls from correctional services to find out about what has happened, as well as the state and his state, and whether his state of health. And if he is not well, as you said, we wish him a speedy recovery, because we also want to have an interest in that he is in court. Remember, he is innocent until he's found guilty, although we believe that he's got a case to answer. So we wish him well, and we hope that he fully recovers.
Thank you so much. Eric Ndabazalila, the NPA spokesperson in the Western Cape, giving an update in regards to today's pre-trial conference where Mr. Mafe did not appear, obviously for various reasons. The fact that he was not feeling well and had embarked on a hunger strike, his legal team are saying that they were not aware of that, including the NPA, and the fact that he came to court in his pajamas. And we understand that he is saying, or Mafe rather, is saying that he was not aware that he's making his way to court today, hence why he was not feeling comfortable coming up and appearing for the first time in the Western Cape High Court. However, the update from Eric is that they are ready for trial, and the matter has been postponed to the 2nd of September for further consultations between defense, including the state, and obviously during this period they'll be handing over the 5% remaining of some of the evidence that they have that is still outstanding for the defense to look into ahead of the trial. And in this period also, they will be also approaching Judge President to find, or rather to have a judge allocated for the trial of Zandile Mafe, as we do hear from the NPA that they are ready and that their ducks are in a row, and that all they are waiting for now is for trial to commence.
Nasiphi Same, thank you very much for that update for us in the Western Cape.